The northern beaches of Sydney and its public transport and traffic woes are a subject I feel very passionate about. My first video on this channel was a look into these issues and if a metro branch line towards DY would be both welcomed and feasible. Well, nearly 2 years later, and that video definitely started a lot of interesting conversations and debates. Not to mention that wider debate of both improved public transport and increased housing density along the corridor getting louder. Has the transport corridor improved in that time though? I'm sad to say, not really. Military and Spit roads are still a nightmare to drive on between 6 AM and 10 PM. The Spit Bridge and its wacky variable lane system still cause bottleneck chaos, and the buses, although extremely frequent in peak times, are still overcrowded and get stuck in the traffic, leaving passengers in certain stops to wait patiently in crowds or long winding lineups. This daily lineup in Neutral Bay is astounding. In a plus, many articulated or stretchy buses have made their way back into service after many months of repairs. We are also seeing a gradual increase of electric buses entering the fleet, reducing noise and air pollution on a very noisy corridor. The issue of traffic still stands though, with the bus lanes between the city and DY not 24 hours, meaning buses more than likely get held up in traffic at some stage along the corridor or brought to a stop by the Raising Spit Bridge. DY also has its own issues, with no less than 7 sets of traffic lights creating a massive issue for traffic heading through the suburb. In my initial video, I explained that a metro system between the city and DY would bypass the Raising Bridge and up to 60 sets of traffic lights, thereby slashing commute times practically in half and making a potential 40-minute journey closer to 20 minutes. The idea of the metro branching off of Victoria Cross was not something everyone agreed on though. And I do admit that even though it would mean more frequent metros running through the busy city stations, it would create its own bottleneck. The gradient issues for tunnelling were also something that were debated, but I still feel it's possible. I mean, after all, look at all the tunnels Sydney has built thus far amongst so many environmental hurdles. We are capable of achieving this. In terms of eliminating a branch line concept, which would be a much cheaper option and eliminate having to construct another tunnel under Sydney Harbour, the Metro West from Hunter Street could be extended to become a Northern Beaches line, crossing the harbour to Neutral Bay and following the corridor from there towards DY. This would mean travel between DY and Parramatta could potentially become a 40-minute journey non-stop, a huge reduction from the 90 or so minute journey it is currently between each suburb. So brings up the awkward subject of easy access for riff-raff to the beaches, which thanks to years of NIMBYism has kept the beaches from ever having a decent public transport system. To this argument I say, look at all the beaches and roads on a nice summer weekend day and you'll see right away that visitors, or riff-raff, will make their way there in cars or buses regardless. A train system will not change this or make things worse for visitor numbers. It will only succeed in taking extra traffic off the extremely congested roads. On top of this, it will accommodate a rapidly progressing number of high-density housing being constructed along the corridor. Whilst extra housing is very much needed and an absolute plus, particularly for young people trying not to be priced out of Sydney, the extra passenger numbers for already overcrowded buses will burst eventually, or encourage more cars onto one of the busiest traffic corridors in Australia. In the interim, a serious look into 24-hour bus lanes for the whole stretch of DY to the city should definitely be ventured to alleviate at least one major issue the system currently faces. Do you travel on this corridor? And would you happily see a metro built rather than relying on buses or your car? Let me know in the comments below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And until next time, happy commuting.